Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are cracking open something that looks like a simple children's story, but trust me, the influence manual hidden inside is it's absolutely next level.
It really is.
We're diving deep into the source material, The Girl with the Paper Boat, a lesson in kindness, because it contains some of the most powerful, practical lessons on how to generate massive behavioral change, and all without age, resources, or authority.
It's a fantastic case study. I mean, this isn't just about feeling good. This material provides a clear analytical framework.
Right.
Our mission today is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
We need to pull out the mechanics. How do simple, reproducible actions combined with absolute consistency create a ripple that turns into, a tidal wave of positive impact? We're analyzing the anatomy of that ripple.
Okay, let's unpack this. The setup, it immediately establishes this quiet kind of contained world where all the magic starts. It's a gray, rainy afternoon.
Heavy clouds, big puddles, classic setup.
And our protagonist is Anika. She's just 8 years old. We find her focused, sitting inside, and she's meticulously folding paper with these slow, deliberate hands and focused eyes. She's whispering to herself, this one will float far. That initial focus, that intentionality, that's really where the lesson begins.
And that focus is just vital. The whole premise of the source material is that kindness doesn't require money or power or age. So Anika, an 8-year-old, is the perfect vehicle to prove that.
Exactly.
What we need to analyze first is the immediate drive behind the action. She's ready to launch. Her mother gives that soft, very relatable parental warning, Anika, do not get wet.
Right, we've all heard that one.
We have. Anika nods, but her attention is already outside. That signals that the internal drive of the why is so strong, it just overrides that gentle restriction. She's driven by the desire to launch her message.
She doesn't delay at all. She runs out, heads straight for the biggest puddle, the one near the park. And this is where we start analyzing the architecture of her message delivery system. It begins with one simple, gentle action. She places a single paper boat into the water. She watches it travel left-right and claps softly, satisfied. It is traveling. That visibility, that simple launch, that's the first step of dissemination.
What's so fascinating here is that the physical object and the medium she chose, they're completely integral to the strategy. Let's break down the communication model she unconsciously built.
Okay.
The boat is the carrier. It's tangible, it's attractive, and it carries the message. The puddle, though, that's the medium.
It's a shared public channel.
Exactly. During the rain, it's impossible to ignore within that local community.
Yeah.
The message is literally floating right there in front of you.
And that simple, visible act immediately draws her first audience. The children stop playing and they approach her. They don't ask, what are you doing? They ask, how did you make it?
And that question is so crucial, isn't it? It's a request for the methodology, not the philosophy.
Exactly. Annika's response dictates the entire scale-up phase from here. She doesn't just hand them a boat or, tell them to look it up. She smiles and shows them, fold by fold, slowly.
This is the moment she introduces reproducibility.
Yeah.
If you want a message or a behavior to spread rapidly and widely, especially without a budget, it has to have a low barrier to entry.
So the process must be simple enough that the observer can become the participant immediately.
Right.
They don't need special supplies, just paper and a puddle. Soon, 2 boats floated, then 3, then a whole fleet of different colors, all floating together. The technique just spread instantly.
And the power wasn't just in the folding, it was in the content the boats carried. These messages had to be just as simple and reproducible as the action itself. The source mentions the small, simple words written on them. Smile today, be kind, and help someone.
Despite the rain hitting the paper, the source really emphasizes that the words stayed. That idea of permanence, even in the face of, temporary difficulty, is so powerful. These aren't complex philosophical treatises.
No, they're clear, one-sentence directives. Analysis of this shows a perfect communication strategy. Clear, actionable, and non-threatening. You can adopt Smile Today instantly.
And the satisfaction of floating the boat reinforces the positive action.
It does. By teaching them how to fold, Anika ensured that the ripple wasn't dependent on her continued presence. It became self-sustaining.
Yeah.
She gave them the tools for dissemination.
That distinction between the technique and the message is so important. Now, we've established a growing ripple, but every movement needs a catalyst, a moment that transforms the idea from a fun game into a validated philosophy.
Right, let's move to that emotional pivot. This is where we shift from symbolic kindness to physical, verifiable action, the integrity check.
Anika is laughing, watching her colorful fleet spreading out, and then she hears a soft sound, a small cry. The mood immediately shifts.
Hmm.
Near the edge of the puddle, away from the laughter, she sees a small stray dog, wet, cold, and shaking. It couldn't move.
For you, the learner, this is the so what moment. The source material is testing the depth of the initial message. Do the words on the paper boat actually translate into reality?
And Annika's response is everything. She stops smiling, and she moves slowly, quietly. She walks carefully, picks up the dog, and wraps it tightly in her jacket, whispering, "It's okay."
And she wasn't seeking recognition?
Not at all. People watched, the other children watched, but she was focused only on the dog. She acted while everyone else just observed.
That single physical act validated every message she had sent out. It proves that she believed in the principle she was floating. The message of kindness, which started as a simple directive, was just grounded in undeniable authenticity. This is how you build trust in a movement, by showing, not just telling.
The action cemented the integrity of the whole system.
It did, and the emotional feedback loop that followed is equally crucial. Back at home, her mother reinforced the lesson, which really cemented the learning.
She told Anika, "You have a kind heart," and most importantly, she provided the mantra, "Small acts matter."
That is such a powerful three-word takeaway. It distills the entire mechanism into a mantra that is so easy to recall and repeat. This is the immediate, necessary reinforcement for sustained behavioral change. The experience was processed, it was analyzed by the mother, and then given a concise label.
And Annika immediately adapted her communication based on that profound experience. That night, she folds a new boat, a new color, and the message shifts dramatically. It's no longer the generic directive, "Be kind."
No, it's something deeper.
It's the intensely personal, experience-based message. Someone cares.
And this is critical for adaptive messaging. The original messages were based on theory, how the world should be. The new message is based on a profound physical experience, what she learned by saving the dog. Someone cares, taps into a deeper emotional wellspring.
It moves the entire ripple from action-based, fold and smile, to empathy-based. It shifts the entire purpose of the paper boats.
It does. And that leads us straight into the quiet spread and the community transformation that followed. The source makes it really clear. This was not a viral flash in the pan. This success was built on consistency.
Absolutely. Momentum is maintained through reliability.
The source notes that every day, one paper boat appeared with a different color and message. People began to expect it. That consistent presence made the message a reliable fixture in their daily lives. It gave the community something to look forward to.
And the ripple then crossed demographic lines, which shows true systemic penetration, doesn't it? The affected groups.
Yeah.
A shopkeeper smiled after reading a message. A teacher stopped to read one aloud to her class.
And, critically, children waited every day to see the new message, making it part of their daily routine.
This raises an important question, though. What evidence do we have of change beyond the immediate visual?
Well, we see the transformation not just in the puddle, but in the conversation. Parents talked about it at dinner. Teachers spoke about the boats in class, repeating that core, simple phrase, "Small acts matter."
So the result was observable behavioral change across the school and the neighborhood.
Yes, children helped each other more, smiled more, they shared more. The message became institutionalized. And Anika, the source confirms, she just watched quietly, focused only on folding boats. She never claimed ownership or asked for credit.
This quiet, continuous leadership by example solidified the transformation because the focus remained solely on the idea and the action rather than the identity or, the ego of the originator. That's pure influence.
And that purity propelled the ripple even further, leading to external validation. One day, a man with a notebook, a journalist we can assume stopped, watched the entire floating fleet and asked gently, "Who started this?"
The source doesn't say Anika was identified, which I think is important. It maintains the focus on the anonymity of the good work.
Right.
But that interaction resulted in a small article titled "The Girl with the Paper Boat," which made people smile when they read it across the city.
And this is the critical moment where the message jumps the barrier. It moves from the physical delivery system, the puddle, the local neighborhood, to a wider media delivery system, the written article.
So an authentic, locally validated movement was able to penetrate established media purely through its own strength.
The strength of its consistent, simple message and undeniable authenticity. That's the definition of influence without power.
So if we look back at our mission to extract the lessons on how simple messaging and consistency generate widespread impact, the source material really provides three clear pillars of influence.
First, the simplicity and reproducibility of the action, the fold-by-fold lesson. Second, the absolute non-negotiable consistency of delivery, a new boat every day.
Mhm.
And third, the undeniable authenticity of the message, validated by tangible action, the dog incident. These three elements created the momentum.
Connecting this back to you, the learner, Annika's lesson isn't just about making paper toys. It's about not waiting for resources or permission or authority to launch your idea. Your small action, meticulously folded, can start traveling today.
Kindness does not need noise, age, or official permission to spread. We have analyzed how a paper boat, a kind word, and a small, consistent action can travel incredibly far and transform systemic behavior.
But let's leave everyone with the final provocative thought, taken directly from the story itself. The final rainy day, when the test of persistence arrives.
Yes, the afternoon arrived when the rain finally stopped and the puddle began to dry up. The boat could not float anymore because there was no water left. Yet Annika smiled because she understood something profound.
Some things float even without water.
Exactly. So the question for you is, what knowledge, what insight, or what action are you launching today that carries such authentic momentum that it doesn't need external resources or even the right medium to stay afloat?
Think about that until the next time we dive deep.